How much do you think domestic abuse and violence costs the UK a year? 66 billion a year. And of that 66 billion, only 743 million contributes to victim support services. I always remember one of the incidents of abuse that I was exposed to. My mum's partner at the time locking her behind a door and me being able to hear everything that was going on behind that door, and I was 8 years old. I can still close my eyes and remember exactly how I was feeling in that moment. Helpless, powerless, really angry. My mum had the means to escape that when I was younger. A lot of our young people that come through the doors here at EdShift will have experienced this all of their life until they come and get access to support. So if on that one incident I can close my eyes at the age of 42 and still feel and remember all of those feelings outside that door, what are these children and young people going through? What are they actually experiencing in their day-to-day lives?
It's a particular person that I'm thinking of who, struggled to be at school on time. Parents face challenges and using drugs to comfort their way of life or to deal with life, and that means for the child, what does breakfast look like? Lucky if it's a bag of crisps. I'm feeling emotional sharing stories with you because it is when I read those reports and think that a child could suffer in such a way through their life, and to wonder what can be put in place to help them.
So whilst there's no one-size-fits-all for what children who've experienced domestic abuse and sexual violence might have seen or gone through, and how that might affect them in their current lives, there are definitely some current themes of what happens for young people, and the things that I'm predominantly working with are feelings of shame and guilt, a lot of self-blame, issues with self-esteem.
So there's all these various factors such as multiple deprivation, which is kind of the bubble that domestic abuse and abuse thrives on and lives within in a child's home. So there's all these factors that they've got to deal with, which then plays a part into their emotions and how they see themselves and how they see others. So when they come into our building and take part in the sessions, we see that gradual change of them learning about how relationships function and how relationships should be, and how to express and explore our personal emotions.
So what does the Spotlight programme involve? It involves playing games, it involves drawing, it involves getting to know the child, about making sure that the child is relaxed in the space with me. The work is always fun, it's always relaxed, and there's always an element of art in the work as well.
Every aspect of EdShift's work resonates with me. Every single bit of it, everything that they do. They're tackling the roots of domestic abuse and domestic violence, and because EdShift work with children and young people and teach them about how to interact safely with each other in relationships, they're moving towards a future where, if we don't eradicate it altogether, at least we'll bring it to a much lower level than what it is now.
The team are really compassionate and really understanding of those circumstances, and it might only be a little bit that we can make better for those children, but that little bit is vitally important because it makes such a big difference for them.
I grew up with an abusive father and not very nice household, and coming here helped me so much. We started off writing what not to do and what to do, like let's not compare each other's lives, put each other down, be proud of each other and our achievements and goals. Helped me learn that it's not my fault, and that achieving my goals, it's for me to work on myself and be proud of me and not to impress someone that is not very nice. Without EdShift, I wouldn't be going to uni and having phone calls from Australian universities.
Domestic abuse really affects young people's ability to form safe relationships at school, so just being able to make some friends or trust their teacher, those things can be huge and can put them in the frame of mind for learning and being able to have positive experiences socially, which is so important before any of that, kind of more complex stuff of an equation or a sum or anything like that can happen.
I am a domestic abuse survivor. I'm a mother of 3 sons. I did live in a home with 3 young children who witnessed me being physically assaulted, who heard me being verbally abused. And that's affected them. They're adults, they're all adults now, but it's left its mark on them. I don't think you want to hear specifics of it. I really don't. It's quite horrific. But it's what drives me. My experiences is what drives me to do what I do with EdShift.
EdShift has made a massive difference in the community since it started because there's no other organisation like this. I think it's the first sort of place that's really taking on board the viewpoints of the children in these really difficult situations. The work that we do with our local schools and families is absolutely invaluable, and it's something that all children should have the right to wherever they live in the country. If we had more funding, it would enable us to have more security for our staff. All the staff are on fixed-term contracts, which influences who applies and how long people stay because they have to start looking for something else if we haven't got funding secured.
The legislation around child's rights around domestic abuse has only changed in 2021. So we're in the really early days of learning about how domestic abuse is affecting children. We need to build more structures that support that experience for children. 1 in 3 children are affected by domestic abuse and sexual violence. So we need more roles, we need more jobs that support children who are living with the trauma of domestic abuse and sexual violence.
So this intervention, this moment for children to pause and think about what's happened and to work through some of their feelings is so vital. But without the money, we can't do it. More sustainable funding would mean delivering a more sustainable service, which is better for everybody, from staff to CEOs to parents to children, everybody.
EdShift, the people here, lovely, bubbly. They brighten my day every time I come. I don't leave this building without a smile.
The Domestic Abuse Commissioner has estimated that if domestic abuse services are not sustainably funded now, that in 5 years' time, domestic abuse services will cease to exist because they're not considered core programmes of support. In May 2025, our national lottery funding comes to an end. So that means that my job will no longer be funded and other colleagues' jobs will no longer be funded. And more importantly, this building, this space, this hub that has become such a beacon of hope for children and young people in our community will cease to exist.